So you two break up, and why did you break up?
That, Your Honor, I do have in a police report, but it was a incident that my son was, of course, being a 2-year-old, and Gary was sleeping on the couch. My son smacked him in the face, and after my son smacked him in the face and woke him up, he was aggravated. He said,
Smacked him in the face with what? His hand?
His hand. He's a 2-year-old.
This is the plaintiff, Nicole Floyd. She says the defendant, her ex-boyfriend and father of her 2-year-old son, purchased a car together, but now that they've split up, he refuses to pay her the $2,000 she put down on the purchase of the vehicle. She thinks he's been unjustly enriched by keeping the car and her money, and she's here suing for the $2,000 she feels she's owed. This is the defendant, Gary Kroenke. He says he and the plaintiff were in a relationship at the time, and he traded in his van for the purchase of the car for the plaintiff. Besides, she owes him money from their tax return, which she never gave him, and in his eyes, they're more than even. Owe her $2,000? Nice try. He's accused of taking it out on an ex.
All parties, please raise your hands.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Millian in our forum, the People's Court.
Be seated, come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
All right. Ms. Floyd, how about you join us? Okay, I don't know. Go ahead. Both of you have to stand at the... Apparently, neither of you have ever watched the People's Court. Okay, no problem. Ms. Floyd, you are suing Gary Kroenke,
Yes.
your former boyfriend?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Do you have a child together?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and it's about a car that you guys had when you were together. Tell
Yes.
me when that car was purchased.
June 22nd, 2019.
When did you guys break up?
September 15th, 2019.
Okay, and how long were you together totally?
Approximately 5.5 years.
All right, so you purchase a car, and whose car is it supposed to be? Everybody's?
Hours.
Okay, was your name on it?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, now what did you put down on the car?
Van and a couple $100, Your Honor.
How much was the van worth?
They gave me $500 towards the down payment.
Who was making the car payments?
I am. I still am.
Not am. I'm asking who was making it when you were together.
I was.
Always. Is that accurate that he was making the car payments?
That part, but the part about him putting down a few additional $100 is not accurate, but he did put down his van.
Okay. And so you two break up, and why did you break up?
That, Your Honor, I do have in a police report, but it was a incident that my son was, of course, being a 2-year-old, and Gary was sleeping on the couch. My son smacked him in the face, and after my son smacked him in the face and woke him up, he was aggravated. He said,
Smacked him in the face with what? His hand?
His hand.
Okay.
He's a 2-year-old. You
Yeah.
know, split second, they can do anything.
Yeah, I
so
got it. I got it.
Okay. Well, Garrett responds with, if that child hits me again, I'm going to hit you, in which I went to the other room, and I was struck with a water bottle. And
How?
he threw it at me
Okay.
in front of our child.
Okay. Did you show up for court?
I showed up for an intake.
And they said we're not filing it?
They were not filing information.
Okay.
There's not enough.
All right, because
Yeah.
you're in Florida, so the police make the arrest, and then
Correct.
the state attorney's office decides whether to decline prosecution or take the prosecution.
Correct.
So they don't end up filing it. So you guys break up, and you had put how much towards that car?
$2,000.
And now you want your $2,000 back.
Yes.
Who had the car when you broke? Who broke up with who, by the way?
It's kind of a mutual thing when, the behavior I was enduring with him.
Did anybody say, "Oh, come on, let's work it out"?
No.
Okay.
He doesn't really communicate well.
Okay. So who had the car in their possession when this happened?
Me, because he was arrested for the domestic violence.
Okay. So you have the car in your possession, and then you tell her what? I'm going to report it stolen?
Well, what happened was, Your Honor, is when I tried to get the car when I got out of the jail, well, I had to go through her lawyer in order to set it up. So when we did set it up, which just ended up being about an extra month later from the time I got out of jail.
Objection.
Hold on. You can't object because you don't like what he's saying.
Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
I went to jail September 15th. I didn't get the car back till after October. I went through her lawyer, and when I got the cop to meet me at the house, she had her mother come and show up without the vehicle. She made it difficult to get the vehicle.
So you didn't get the car then. How did you get the car?
Well, when I came out of the house with all my belongings, I asked the officer, I said, well, sir, since the car it is my car. He said, it is your car. It is in your name. I said, well, then I could press charges if I wanted to, correct? And he's like, yes, you could, right in front of her mother. Then that evening, I received a text message from Nicole through my mother's phone, or actually she hit my nephew's phone up about the car, saying that, well, since it's reported stolen.
Did you report it stolen?
No, absolutely
Okay.
not. No, I didn't.
So she returns the car to who?
No, she didn't return the
Oh
car.
my gosh, just wrap it up. She returns the car to who?
To my nephew at a place where I wasn't allowed to go to, and it was a gated community. They had to jump the fence to get the car, and they had to break the gas cap open to get the car key out of the gas cap and over for us to get the car.
Okay.
She made it very difficult, Your Honor.
Okay. So you got the car back. Now, what were the car payments on that?
$450 a month.
And you have the car now.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you figure that you're going to get $2,000 back every single penny you put into it when this is a car that both of you were using?
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So, if your significant other threw a water bottle at you in a fit of anger, would you leave him or would you give him another chance?
No, I would give him another chance.
How come?
It depends on the situation, but I wouldn't leave him just like that. We would have to talk it out and see, what led him to do that. And
What do you say? Well, that makes it sound like it's your fault. I don't know about that. What do you say?
I'll give him another chance.
Would you?
Yeah.
Who wouldn't? Anybody?
I would not.
Huh?
That's assault, straight out assault.
It is definitely assault, no doubt.
I will leave him right away.
No second chance.
No.
Okay, going inside the courtroom.
I actually didn't think that, I would get all of it back, but I would, expected half of it back.
So
because
was there
I had
ever
to get
any
another
discussion
car.
between you two, or no, she got you arrested so you didn't want anything
No
to...
communication.
So
Correct.
what do you think is appropriate?
Well, I mean, from...
Because it's like if she put $2,000 down, right? There's no dispute about that.
Well, technically, I thought that was part of my money, considering that the tax credit, but from the year before, we split the tax credit for the child. She gave me $2,500. This year, I didn't get any. So I just
Wait, what
was
do you
under
mean?
the assumption.
Wait. What do you
her,
mean
her
by
income tax check, which includes part of the money for the kid, we were going to split.
Oh.
She gave me $2,500 the year before because we were together. This year, I didn't get any. So I was under assumption that $2,000 was my money for the tax. for the
Okay,
taxes.
let's respond to the tax credit issue.
First of all, he doesn't even provide for his child or pay child support, Your Honor. Just let that be known. And second of all, he got the car back on September 28th, not in October. And third of all, I don't know why he thinks he's entitled to my earned income tax credit because of our child. There's no court order that says I need to split my tax return refund with him.
Yeah, you don't get money for that unless you're supporting your kid. Are you supporting your kid?
We were together at the time, yes. So if that is the case,
not
Your Honor,
married.
then why did she give me the money the year before?
Yeah, I'm not gonna, you don't have a counterclaim in this case. You've never
No.
filed a lawsuit against
No.
her for the tax credit. You would have to prove there may be a reason for that. It might be that you're not supporting the child. I don't know. I have a piece of advice for you. Every time that you give her money, make it in a check or a money order and keep the proof of it. And if it's gonna be cash, get a receipt from her because this issue's gonna come up.
I agree.
It's gonna come up. She's gonna sue you for child support, as is her child's right. It's not even her right, it's her child's right. So that's gonna happen. So if you're giving any money, you better start keeping records of what you're giving.
Well, Your Honor, the thing is when I gave her money, she was kind of like being like passive aggressive towards me with some comments that she's making. And I wanted to leave. And I asked her if I could get my son for Thanksgiving. We agreed upon 5:30 the next day that I could get him overnight. I went there at 5:30. She wasn't there. She didn't show up. She made the statement that if she can't have a direct line of contact with me, then I don't need to see my child.
Let me make a strong suggestion that you go to court yourself. You don't have to wait for her to sue you for child support. You sue her for your parental rights. That's your child's right too, to see their father. How old's the child?
I absolutely agree, Your Honor. 2.
If
Yes,
she's
ma'am.
really saying there's a cover charge for your kid, that there isn't. And now if you don't
Correct.
do what I'm saying, then it sounds like maybe you don't want to have to pay child support. But I won't know about that because that'll all happen after this
Correct.
trial. I am here for this trial, which
Yes.
is about the $2,000.
Yes, ma'am. I
So-
given her money towards the car payment because I didn't have a bank account at the time. So we split the bills, and I gave her
I
the
don't think
money.
she denies that you made the car payments. There's
Right.
no.
No, I paid the insurance. He paid the car payment.
Right, because this is a joint car. So if it's a
Correct.
joint car, even though it's in your name, she owns part of the car. So
Right.
if she owns part of the car and you have all of the car, then she should get some money back. She's certainly not going to get $2,000 because she used the car for June, July, August, and September.
Put on 10,000 miles, Your Honor, in
I'm
5
sure
months.
she did. According to you, she would drop you off at work and then she would take the car
Yes,
and
ma'am.
drive to her. So the law tries to be reasonable and use logic, particularly in cases where the people don't. So I'm
Yes.
going to now kind of do what?
Looking at a little rough justice?
That's right, because you guys don't anticipate what. Are you mom? Who
No,
are
this is my
your
friend.
girlfriend, sister? I'm
Moral support.
Moral
Bestie.
support. I'm sorry, you don't look like her mom. I'm just saying that, like, friend. Okay, yeah, you look very young. It's not. I didn't mean that. I just. Thank you. Because
And you're a babe
you
as
were
well.
nodding while ago, so it sounds like the kind of person who gives a lot of advice that's not listened to. All right. So what I'm gonna do is do a little rough justice and try to figure out what portion should be returned. Okay. What'd you say those car payments were? $450?
Yes, ma'am. I also did all the maintenance on the vehicle, too, during that time.
Yeah, it's your car. Remember?
Yes, ma'am. But it needed oil change.
Stop
like-
talking. I'm trying to do
Yes, ma'am.
complex math. For the use of the car, I'm going to charge her half of the car payment throughout that time. And that comes out to $900. So I'm going to subtract that from the $2,000. And that means you owe her $1,100. Verdict for the plaintiff, $1,100. Good luck, folks.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So the plaintiff gets just over half of what she was seeking. Mr. Gronke, you got to give her $1,100. You okay with that? You understand the decision?
I don't know. Yeah, I understand the decision. Absolutely. it's not that I don't really agree with it, but it is what it is. And I'll pay it. I just hope that we can move forward, and I hope I can see my son soon. Most important.
Well, the judge said you've got the right to go to court, you know.
Yeah, and I got to go to court, but in the meantime, what now? I mean, why can't I see him sooner than that? That's all.
Well, you got to work that out. with
No,
her.
I know. I know.
Okay.
I appreciate it, man.
Sorry about that. Good luck
Thank
to
you.
you. I hope you guys work it out. Ms. Floyd, I gather you're not too happy to let him see your son. Am I right?
No, I would absolutely love for him to see his son. He doesn't call me. I don't have his number. He doesn't call me. So, I mean,
And do you know how to reach him?
no, Your Honor, he doesn't have a phone number that I know.
I'm not the judge.
But I do try to reach out to his family members, and I don't get any, I don't
Well,
get
you're
far
going to
with
have to
it.
work this out. It's going to be back in court again, you know.
We are going to go back in court, actually.
Okay.
I have a paternity action pending.
Okay. Well, good
Well,
luck to
hopefully
you.
he
You get
steps
half
up.
of what you were seeking. You all right
Yeah.
with that?
Absolutely, it's fair. I think she was very reasonable.
Good for you.
And my boss thinks she's a babe.
Thank you very much. Judge will like that. Harvey?
Okay, Doug, I mean, this is another example, and we've talked about this so much, another example of how you have to set financial ground rules when you are with somebody, especially if you're living together. It is essential. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, Kenneth Goodhue. He says the defendant, his ex-fiancée, owes him money for the engagement ring he purchased for her, which she refuses to return. He's made numerous attempts to retrieve his property. She's disrespecting him by keeping it, doesn't care, and he's here suing her for the ring's $3,400 value. This is the defendant, Lynn. She says she and the plaintiff hit it off after his wife of 35 years passed away. So she moved in with him and things were going great. He told her he didn't want to get married again because his wife had just passed. Then a few months later, he bought her a ring as a present. He didn't propose to her, it was just a gift. Unfortunately, the plaintiff got into the relationship too soon after losing his wife. They split up and she told him she was going to sell the ring to pay the rent. Now he's turning around and suing her, claiming it was an engagement ring? Please. She's accused of refusing a ring return.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. These litigants were engaged, and now the plaintiff wants the defendant to pay up for the engagement ring that she won't return. But the defendant says the plaintiff's wife of 35 years died, and this was just a friendship ring. It's the case of with this ring, I thee sue.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay. So according to you, the defendant is your ex-fiance, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
And when were you engaged?
June of 2014.
Okay. Now, you started seeing her when?
Approximately a few years before that.
When did you start
I mean,
seeing
a few months before that, I'm sorry.
When did you two start seeing each other, ma'am?
March of 2014.
All right. Now, you have been married to someone for 35 years, correct?
Yes,
And unfortunately, she passed away.
yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry for your loss. When did she pass away?
In December 4th of 2014.
Well,
13.
13, right. And then you started seeing him when? 2 months later?
I had an acquaintance with him, so I kind of saw him, heard about his wife dying, passing, and I just called him up, whatever, around January, I guess.
And you started dating?
Not right away.
Okay.
We kind of just talked a little bit, saw each other, and then he was a clamor, or still is.
A clamor? Is that what you
Clamor,
said?
yes. I'm
You're
sorry.
a clamor? What's that
A
mean?
bayman, a commercial shell fisherman.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Where do you do it?
Oyster Bay, Long Island.
Okay, so go on.
So then we started, after that point, I guess that's.
Did you
that
move
was
in
around
with him?
March. Yes.
What month did you move in with him?
Gosh, it was getting warmer, so probably around April, May.
Okay.
So it was quick.
Yeah, I'll say it was quick. It was 4 months after the death of a wife that you had for 35 years. I'd say that's quick.
Well, I knew her 3 years
I don't care how long you knew her.
prior,
You know,
but
a
then-
human being needs
right.
to process the grief and all that. Anyway,
Right.
so you move in, and then what happens?
Things were pretty nice. We were having fun. I mean, I was doing something very different. I wasn't working at the time. I was fighting for disability. And so, we had a great time. But I would say for the first 6 months or so, he surprised me with a gift of a ring. Actually, the moment he gave me the ring, he said basically that we wouldn't get married because he just lost his wife, which I understood.
You wouldn't get married right away?
right away.
Well, we never made any plans. There was no engagement party. There was no promise of an engagement party.
But
or
what was the
wedding.
ring? The ring
It
was
was more like a gift,
more like a gift.
I had to. I kind of.
Does
talked to
anybody
him.
have a picture of the ring?
I do.
Can I see
but
it?
I don't have it. No, it's on an email.
Intervene here
Does
if I
any?
could.
No, don't intervene while I'm talking. That's
excuse me.
rude.
Give me a minute.
No worries. You take a look for that and you intervene. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was going to say that we were in our late 50s when I proposed to her. And I said,
How did you
well,
propose?
I said, well, we're not going to have children or anything.
No.
Because
How did you propose?
Well,
Not what things you were saying. How did you propose?
We weren't in any rush to get married, so we could
That's
take
still
our
not
time.
an answer. I'm asking you exactly how you proposed.
I said, well, being that we agreed that we were soulmates and, compatible, I loved her. And I said, I want to marry you.
And then you gave her a box?
We also agreed on
Wait,
spending the
and
rest.
then you gave her a box with a ring in it?
Yes, I opened it
And
up
where were you when that happened?
in my apartment.
Was it a surprise?
Yes,
And was she happy?
yes.
Let me
Just
see
have the
the
picture of
picture
the
you were
frame.
going to tell me. Wow, that's pretty sure looks like an engagement ring. So he tells you we're not going to get married right away, okay? But he obviously mentions getting married. If he says not right away,
Who asks someone to get married and says, "But we're not going to get married right away"? I mean, you give a ring, you're ready to get married. No.
well, I don't know, you took the ring. It's not like
Yeah,
you said,
I mean,
take it
good
back.
ring.
Take it back, and when you're ready, we'll do this. Because frankly, it was 6 months after his wife
was,
died,
you know,
and it is too soon.
it was-
So,
it was, you know-
so you took the ring, and then you wore the ring, right? And how many years did you wear the ring?
What, 2 years?
2 years. You guys were together. And you were living together.
Yeah.
Right. And you walked around with what looks to anyone with connected brain cells like an engagement ring. And are you suggesting that you weren't engaged?
We didn't really have a party. We never talked about it.
Okay, not having a party doesn't mean you're not engaged.
But nobody, like my family, knew it was,
How did they know? What'd you do with the ring when you walked in? Turned it underneath? What'd you do?
No, I actually didn't say anything. And my sister said, "Oh, you have a ring." That's how big of a moment it was.
Really, the size of the moment doesn't matter. What matters is if this was an engagement ring. And you know that, and that's maybe why you're saying it's not an engagement ring. Do you have any proof of the purchase of the ring?
Yes, I do.
Let me see that. Okay, I could buy this at Walgreens and fill it out myself. Where's the actual proof of the payment of the ring?
This is the gentleman who sold it to me right here, my friend Leonard Montefiore.
Oh, come on up, sir.
Len, get up.
Please?
You can't hear too well.
Should I go?
No, I'll go over to you, don't worry. Can you hear me now?
You can come closer. I have
Closer?
to pull it.
Don't worry, don't worry. How old are you?
I'm going to be 93 years old.
Oh, heavens bless you.
I don't look it, but I'm going to be
Don't look it.
93.
You're quite spry for 93. All right.
All right.
Now, back to business. What do you do for a living? Are you still working?
No, I've been retired 50 years.
From what? You've been retired for 50 years?
I retired at 42.
Good for you. What did you used to do?
I was in a jewelry business. I used to manufacture on 47th Street in New York.
Okay. All right. Now, back to the case.
You should be so lucky.
I should be. I can't be so lucky. I'm not going to live to be 100 and whatever. All right. So did he buy a ring from you?
Yes.
Okay. And how did you get that ring? You got it from somebody who's still in the
I got it from a friend of mine in the business.
Do you remember how much he paid you?
$3,400.
How do you remember that it was $3,400?
My memory is 100%.
Okay.
He's got the copy of the other half of the receipt that when we exchanged it.
That doesn't really prove anything. His testimony proves something more than that. All right, so do you remember the diamond? If I showed you a picture of it, do you remember like the clarity, the quality, anything, or not really?
It was a carat and a half.
What'd you do with the ring?
Well, about I'd say July of 2017.
You guys broke up when?
Well, we kind of it was a mutual thing. We weren't getting along. After about 6 months of being together, there was fighting, there was all kinds of problems.
Okay, who leaves the apartment?
The plaintiff left the apartment mid-2017.
So you guys lived in the same apartment for another 6 months?
We were in separate bedrooms. We just shared the...
out of my own room and bought me a futon to sleep on for a year and a half, which was totally uncomfortable, while she confiscated my bed and room.
Why would you do that, though? Why wouldn't you?
Because, well, I wanted to try to actually reconcile with her,
okay.
and it didn't work, and I thought I could, and it just came to that.
Okay. Did you live there a year and a half after you broke up?
Yes.
But let me just ask you a question. For that year and a half while you're living there, are either of you dating other people?
No.
Are you?
Not me.
Not interested.
I'm still not dating anyone.
So, okay, he wants you to know he's not dating anyone. So you just coexist, hey, how you doing? And then you each just walk into your rooms
That's basically two ships passing in the night.
Wow.
So she wore the ring for 2 years. Is this an engagement ring?
I don't think it is, because I think he has to actually propose to her in order for it to be.
But if he says, will you marry me, but I don't want to set a date right now, is that a proposal?
I don't think it is. I think he should have been more clear with what it was, for sure, but I don't think it sets it up to be an actual proposal.
Fair enough. What do you say?
If she accepted the proposal, that's an engagement ring.
Okay. Who's going to be the tiebreaker?
Yeah, if she accepted it because it was implied and she was under the belief that it wasn't a engagement.
She's wearing it for 2 years and they have no date?
Yeah, she should keep it.
So it's not an engagement ring then?
I'm saying it is an engagement ring.
Well, you got two inconsistent things going, my friend, going inside the courtroom.
So at some point you can't continue this way, and so you move out?
I moved out because I had an offer from this gentleman in a studio apartment in his house.
All right, so you decide to move out, and you tell her, listen, I can't go on like this, we got to get out.
Well, at that point, she was in the process of getting in an apartment, but it was just going to take time for the other people to get out. So at that point, she had stayed there 3 more months after I had left.
Did she pay rent?
No, she paid nothing. Not that I know of.
And then according to you, the landlord started bothering you.
Yes.
How did the landlord bother you?
Locking me out, vandalizing my car, cursing, yelling and screaming till all hours of the night, cursing at me. I had the cops there every day. It was insane.
Did you pay the landlord the rent?
I paid him $350.
But the rent's $1,700.
Right.
Right.
But I talked to him and we came to an agreement, and he actually evicted me.
Oh, that
we
doesn't
went
sound
to
like
a
an
court.
agreement. It sounds like they didn't want you there.
This was the agreement. At the eviction, he said, okay, you can stay there till the 28th, because that's when I was getting my apartment.
So where's the ring?
I stole it. Prior to that, let me back up a little bit. The plaintiff and his friend actually helped me try to sell the ring.
Is that accurate?
He offered her some money for it, and she refused.
And then they
So at the time, you didn't want the ring back?
No, I didn't.
This is when
want
you're
the
still
ring.
trying to woo
I wanted
her.
nothing to do with the ring. You know, I wanted
When
her.
did you decide you wanted her?
Yeah.
All right. And now when did you decide that you wanted the ring back?
For the past couple of years, I've been trying to correspond with her through texts and phone calls. And
Do you
she
have any
ignored me.
texts to show
I
me?
even told her,
Do you
no,
have any? No.
I don't have
Okay.
them.
So they tried to help you sell the ring, but you don't sell it. And then when do you sell it?
Well, they did sell it. I got money, cash in my hands, and I put it in my account. There was no talk about, I want money. You know what I'm saying? It was just the next
didn't sell
day.
it.
Hold on.
Lenny came and called me and said, oh, the guy reneged. I need the money back.
And then what did you do? You gave Lenny back the money for
Yeah, I
it?
gave him back the cash, and then he gave
You
me
gave
back
who the
ring.
cash?
No,
Ken
no.
or Len?
Len.
That deal doesn't happen, and then you end up selling it for how much?
Well, I went to 4 different appraisers, and all of them told me that the main stone was cracked. So the ring was useless, and they gave me...
Useless?
Well, they
That's a
couldn't-
little much.
They couldn't cut the ring back down, you know, because it was cracked in half.
Okay, but so what's the answer to me? What did you sell the ring for?
$800.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Why should you be able to keep an engagement ring?
Because he let me.
When did you sell it?
Sometime in August.
Of what year?
2017. Kind of like a month after he left. Because I needed the money in order to pay rent and...
That's an interesting answer. Because the law says that a gift in contemplation of marriage has to be returned to the giver if the marriage doesn't happen. And we certainly have that situation here. What she's saying is, fine, Judge, that may be the case. However, in this case, he let me keep the ring. And he let me keep it for years. And it's just now, because you guys broke up in 16. And now all of a sudden, he decides, you know what? I think getting the ring back or getting $3,400 or $3,000 would give me closure. At the time that she sells the ring, it's her ring. You had let her keep it. Now, all of a sudden, it's like, give me back my ring. Well, you told me I could keep it, so I sold it. You know, after she's counted on your statement, keep it, she's counted on it in the sense that she's owned it all that time. A year and a half, you didn't ask for it while you were living with her. And she ends up selling it. And now you say, oh, by the way, now that you sold it for $800, I want my ring back. No. Verdict for the defendant.
Well, it didn't work for the plaintiff. Mr. Goodhue, you don't seem too happy. If you'll step over here,
not
please.
happy.
What are you thinking right now?
Well, I'm thinking how she treated me, which was horrible, and which she put me through more grief and aggravation in the 3 years I was with her than I was in my whole life.
Yeah.
And I didn't give her the ring as a gift. I gave her as a marriage proposal, and whatever happened after that was through sheer emotions and everything else. But I did try to get the ring back from her, and she ignored me. So, you know,
Wow.
that's what happened.
Sorry about it.
She
That's the
doesn't care
judge's
about
decision.
anybody but herself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good day. Okay. Well, Lynn has come out of the courtroom. What are you thinking about what just happened?
Well, I think it was a good thing, because that's exactly what the judge said at the end was exactly what happened. How can you ask for a ring back when you let me have it already?
Yeah.
And tried to help me sell it.
Didn't work out too well, did it?
No, it didn't, unfortunately.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Harvey, what do you think?
Just so you know, Doug, the laws are varying in most states, but the trend is that if it's an engagement ring, it doesn't matter who breaks up with who. If the guy is the one that gives it to the woman, the guy gets the ring back. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, Anna Kostich. She says she was making a U-turn in front of her house, and the defendants rammed her in their truck. It was almost like they did it purposely because they saw she was making the turn and they didn't stop. The defendants had expired insurance. They had no right to just ram into her car, and they need to take responsibility and pay her the $5,469.26 owed for her car repairs. These are the defendants, Michael Rivera Jr. and Michael Rivera Sr. Michael Jr. says he was traveling down the road, minding his own business, when out of nowhere and without warning, the plaintiff decides to pull a Yui in the middle of the intersection without checking for traffic. The woman was in the middle of the crosswalk, for goodness sakes. Who does that? They collided with her in their bread truck. They know the law, did nothing wrong, and owe this careless driver nothing. They're accused of hitting a woman where it hurts.
All parties, please use your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says not only did she get slammed by the defendant in their truck, she says they did it on purpose. But the defendants say the plaintiff made an illegal U-turn.
Okay.
It's the case of Yui is screwy.
All right. Now, unfortunately, you two got into a car accident, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't you come on over to pick a car you want to be. You can pick any of the cars.
Yeah, this is difficult. Yeah.
It's not, picking the car is not difficult. It's going to get way harder.
Okay. Yeah, I was here parked because I live here.
Okay.
And I had something that I needed to unload from the car.
Okay.
So I proceeded, as I do many times. Then there was nobody behind me.
Okay.
We do make U-turns here. It's
being
a small
Philadelphia?
being Pennsylvania, in this particular kind of neighborhoods, it's not prohibited.
Okay.
So
there's no U-turn sign?
There is no U-turn.
It's prohibited if there's a no U-turn sign.
But not
Otherwise,
here.
it's not
No.
prohibited. Go
No,
ahead.
what is here is like 8 stop signs on every corner here, and there are cross walks. So in doing so, I looked behind, looked, of course, to the left. In front of me was clear. I needed to, of course, take a better look, at my right, because I needed to make a turn, where I saw a truck fairly far, further than 100 feet, which is the size of our houses. So I knew I had enough time. I proceeded then, and I was already, it shows my wheels were turning. Then I looked, of course, one more time everywhere, and I looked back. I thought I gave him enough time.
Oh, you saw him?
I saw him and he was more than very far away.
Oh,
Yeah?
it turns out you were wrong about that, though, right?
Well, it doesn't turn.
Well, he hit you.
Well, he did hit
What do you
me.
think? He was aiming at you?
No, of course
Okay.
not.
So
No, I
it
think
turns out
in
you
which
didn't
I
have
saw-
enough time, right?
No, but there are stop signs. So I counted on him stopping. I just saw him going through. I was trying even to get his, eyes. I couldn't believe that he wasn't stopping. So it was I was watching at him flying into me, just not knowing how far, I couldn't move at that point. I didn't do anything.
You didn't have time to move?
I
you mean?
didn't have time to
because he
move.
was so close to you.
Yeah, he was.
Right.
He was
so why
right
are you
there.
making the U-turn there if he's about to come to you? Your
No, no.
answer is, I saw him coming. I assumed he'd stop, and he didn't stop, and he's supposed to stop because there's a stop sign. That's your
There's a
answer.
stop,
So
yes.
take another car and make the other car his, and then tell
Oh,
me where he hits
was in
you.
a-
Is he?
it's almost-
You have put him in the middle of this lane. Do you mean here?
Yeah,
Okay,
here.
Okay.
So in both of these, right in the almost.
So
all
that's
this
where your
because of-
car is. Your
that's
car
car.
is just a little bit to the right side of this.
Yes, I am, because
Okay.
I have to get in order to make the proper
And
U-turn.
according to you, there's a stop sign everywhere.
There are 8 stop signs in this.
Okay, go ahead and go back.
Thank you.
What, are you the driver?
I am not.
Okay, who's the driver?
I am.
What happened?
Okay, basically, she's got it reversed.
Yeah, okay, come back over here and you show me how it happened.
Just keep it the same. This is her. This is her.
Okay, she's coming. This is her from 46th Street. I'm on Pine. She was here, like this, on the crosswalk.
On the crosswalk?
On the crosswalk. And I made a complete stop first. And as
What do you
she
mean you
went,
made a complete stop
I made a
first?
complete stop because
Behind the crosswalk?
Yeah, behind the crosswalk because the stop sign is right here. The crosswalk is past the stop sign. So she came, veered to the right, rapidly. I made my complete stop. I looked left to the right, and then I accelerated. She came rapidly, boom, and I struck her.
So the stop sign is before the crosswalk?
Yes.
Let's Google Earth this. Hold on, let's see if we have it.
We have pictures, Judge.
You have pictures? Let's see. Were you in the crosswalk?
I was partially in the crosswalk. Yeah, that's how we have to make a
No,
U-turn.
that's not how you have to. You could make your U-turn not going quite so wide. That's kind of nutty. Okay, walk over to it and point for me.
This is 46 here.
Is that
I'm
46?
coming right here. Yes.
That's correct, ma'am.
Yes. and
Okay,
She
but-
came here.
So the stop sign is not,
It's, I would say above it, but right on the crosswalk, I would say.
okay?
Okay. At the accident, we took pictures,
Yeah.
and there are the pictures right here.
These are her photos.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. How is your car on the pedestrian crosswalk? Did you actually take pictures at the scene on the day of the accident?
Yeah, so on my cell
Where
phone,
are those?
I don't have them anymore. I don't have the phone.
That's what I was loving to see. But
her pictures
this
are
is,
pretty clear.
yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty good.
Okay, so you can see there.
Just a second, hold on. Is that your car on the crosswalk?
Yes, ma'am. That is.
Why would you have to go to a crosswalk to make a U-turn?
We don't have enough room for that.
Then don't make the U-turn, because the law is what it is in every state, which is you can do a U-turn if it's safe to do a U-turn. If you literally, let's put the cars the way you say that they were. You're literally telling me the only way you can U-turn is if you end up in this crosswalk? That's how you make a U-turn? You had to be going like this. You're not paying attention to him, and then the accident happens. So literally, how can this be a permitted U-turn where you can do it because you have gauged safely whether there'll be a collision? No, right? Because there was a collision. How can this ever be that guy's fault?
Well, you know, whether I am there because there is something wrong with my car, which I could be.
Was there?
Well, it could be.
No, was there
I
something wrong
supposed
with
to
your
be
car?
seen?
Was there something wrong with your car?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
These are half size of
Did
the
you
models.
submit this claim to your insurance?
I don't have a full insurance. I
You don't
have
have
comprehensive
collision
insurance.
at all.
They didn't
right?
have it at all.
Or you only have collision. You don't have the kind of insurance that pays for your car.
If I am at fault, my
Right.
insurance would pay.
But if you are, say that again, your insurance would pay them. They wouldn't pay you. You
Yes.
don't have insurance to help you fix your car under any
have
circumstance.
comprehensive,
All right,
yes.
now, so do you end up talking to her dad?
I did.
Tell me about that.
Well, we spoke, and I told her that I would pay for the deductible because I thought that, number one, he did strike her, but she was on the intersection, and she refused.
I'm not even sure why you offered that,
Yeah.
but it's always better not to get sued.
Correct.
Did you claim this against their insurance company?
They didn't have insurance company.
Oh,
I never
why
spoke
were you driving
to
without
Mr.
insurance?
Rivera.
He did not know that when he drove that vehicle. That is not the vehicle that he normally drives. His truck
Yeah, but
was
you
down.
knew that. Are you the owner of the company?
I am.
So then why did your insurance lapse on one of your vehicles that your employees take?
We would take them off if they need to be repaired. That one was under extensive repair.
So, have you ever, do drivers play chicken?
I think they absolutely do play chicken.
Okay, so when they play chicken, what do you do to get out of it? Or do you get out?
I think the most important thing is to be safe with everyone. So if someone is trying to be like immature about it, it's important to just like let them be immature because it's so you don't hurt yourself.
You disengage.
Yes.
Got your point. Going inside the courtroom.
So this is very interesting. Wow. I truly have never seen that. This is where her car is. And you think that's his fault. I don't. And I find in favor of the defendant in this case. You're going to have to pay for your own damages and drive more carefully.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So the plaintiff failed in her effort to get recovery in this courtroom today. You know, the pictures did you in.
Yeah,
understand?
I am amazed. I'm in the same situation as I was when they rammed into me. I mean, this was not the truth at all. I mean, I never talked to this guy. They don't have insurance. They can, run the streets as they want. It is amazing. Yes, I was partially on. I have to be partially on it. I think, Judge. Well, there are other people who can look at this evidence. You're not the only ones.
Well, the judge is the one who counts.
Well, this judge counts, but there must be other courts, higher courts, right?
Well, take it to the Supreme Court if you want.
Well, is it Supreme the next one here? Is the next one Supreme?
I don't know. That's the highest one.
That may be.
Sorry for you. You can't recover anything here that way. Sorry, ma'am. All right. The Riveras are on their way out of the courtroom now. How are you feeling about it? Were you worried? Obviously, you were worried because you offered to pay her some money.
I was, yes.
Yeah. But the pictures were. Yep.
And I was confident that that was going to show.
That's a big help for you.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okie dokes. Harvey?
Okay, Doug. Hey, it is super important. Before you move the cars after an accident, take pictures. Those pictures make all the difference in the world.